morning and welcome to the SCMRA seminar for 2016. Modelling the modern era, or freight trains the modern era. So, 1983 saw the end of the guard plan in New South. It wasn't to the late noughties that we got rid of all the block signalling. A bit earlier than that, we got rid of a lot of the single line CVC mechanical signalling lines. So that enabled railways in the first instance, as they put in the CVC signalling, all they did was power operate that, get rid of the mechanical, put in the colour light signals, put in the electric point motors, and typically remote control it. Combination between the Commonwealth Government, Victorian Government and New South Wales Government to run interstate trains. Before, if you wanted to get a wagon from Sydney to Melbourne, you had to go and talk to the New South Wales people. They'd run the wagon to the Victorian border, talk to Victorian Railways, they'd run it through. People who were just freight train operators have moved into terminal services. People who were just providing locos and rolling stock have moved broader than that as well.
Now, the purpose of the presentation is to provide you with the following information: a brief history of Lachlan Valley Rail Museum, brief details of LVR and LVRF Carra branch operations, 7 parts of the Carra Blaney section were closed. 1993, the line reopened and the line, or part of the line, was released to Lachlan Valley Rail.
So, modern rail signalling. I mentioned before that we had a change from mechanical signalling to colour light signalling and remote control. When we look at the country part of New South Wales at the moment, you've got 3 control centres cover all the country in New South Wales. So there is a control centre at Broadmeadow, which belongs to ARTC, so that covers from Port Waratah all the way up to near Moree, out to Ulan, and all the way up the north coast to just south of Acacia Ridge in Queensland.
So in a train device, basically for a century we had white tail discs for the train completeness, round discs for a single line, trying to look for a double line. So with the withdrawal of the guards then in the mid-80s, we needed a visual indication at the end of the train. So to confirm the train is complete, basically is no portion of the train is left behind, so that could be a bit of a drama. Trains pass each other, the drivers are doing a bit of this safety work themselves. So passing train drivers would check the load in the train that they're passing for the security of the load. No tarps, chains or container doors swinging, no smoke, sparks coming from bogies, etc. And at the end of train device was on the train. Quite important. Imagine what was said if there wasn't an engine train device. So using the radio, the driver contacted the other driver. In my research, I've never seen one of these flashing lights on a train, but one of my mates said, Mark, you better tell them that they don't operate in the daytime. And so I asked someone else, and they said, no, they operate in the daytime too. So, okay. So now I know why they don't operate in the daytime, mate. They've got light sensor in it. That's on the early ones, right? Most companies recently bought a UK designed blinky bill. The disc replaced by a white body. And change the flashing rate down to flashing at 1 per second. If you want to make DC out of DCC, use a bridge rectifier.
Well, that photo I got there off the internet, which is a good place to start when you want to look for information. Quite a lot of different wagons there, many of which I've built. And up until recently, have not been available commercially. So that's the advantage of scratch building. You can make something unique. The purpose of today, I was going to talk about this out-of-date steel wagon. A good place to start is on the internet if you want photos for what you're doing. And the reason they have the horizontal position is so that they can get a forklift in and unload it. But it's too wide for normal operation, which is why they tilt it back up. They seem to be the tie-down straps these days. I made those using electrical tape. Cut strip down on a piece of glass, get a ruler and a nice sharp knife, cut the appropriate size strips, just stick it on. Although I did find that the very ends tended to peel back off, so I just put a little tiny dab of super glue on here to secure it. The yellow bit over the top, which is normally the protective sleeve that goes around corners, it's just, once again, a slightly wider version of that stuck on the top. And secured as necessary with tiny dab of super glue.
Going to talk to us about weathering locomotives and rolling stock. So please welcome Aaron.
We'll touch on preparation, how I set up. Any ideas I'm more than welcome to be thrown around. And then we'll go into more depth about how I went about weathering a Auscision AOOX gondola. For me, when I'm weathering a locomotive or a piece of rolling stock, I like to do a bit of research first. So I think we're now at a stage with our beautiful ready-to-run models that we want to dirty. It's not just a case of just spraying an airbrush over the exhaust pipes and a bit of dirt colour around the bogies. So what am I weathering? Am I weathering a locomotive? Am I weathering a piece of rolling stock? Here, the bogie side frames is just pushed into a piece of balsa. You've got alligator clips that have been soldered onto bits of rod here, and on the tips of the alligator.
I've been modelling all my life. My grandfather was a railway driver. My father was a modeller, not as much as I am, but he was, and so I got inspiration. And so I grew up at my grandfather's knee talking about trains, and I enjoy building. Talking to people and trying to encourage them to model and do things. I mean that sincerely. And other people have helped me. Now, Ian Thorpe and Es Davies, quite a few years ago, did talks. And remember Ian Thorpe used to make them out of, he still does, make them out of styrene. Remember that was at Petersham? It may have been before Peter, I can't remember. I think it was at Petersham. But years and years ago. And it really stimulated me to say, gee, look, what else can I do? This fella, he's in here somewhere. The lovely containers. Look at that. Look at the potential of that to build that. Another one there, all sorts of loads. I'm going to talk about techniques as I go. So here's this wagon here, and it's made completely from brass. It's only 2.2 ounces, which is a little bit over 60 grams.
apart from full-size 20-foot containers like that, they actually made little cardboard boxes that looked like that you could dump your parcels into a sense through. And I've got one of those, so I've got to bring them. So, you just use masking tape to hold it, or you can use the nails plus the masking tape. If it's a gate, or it's a post for a gate, or the post of a corner, then typically that's about 4 inches.